This is a question I've been wanting to ask you for a while. It's definitely a super personal question. I haven't wanted to add momentum to it, but I definitely need some clarity. I had sat in this chair a few years ago. I had asked you a question about health and thinking about things lightly, and how about I was concerned that even thinking about things lightly, I would generate momentum towards my worrying thoughts of health. And I create my own reality. I know I do. But with this topic of health, with me personally, where I've had some dis-ease, it's been one of the bigger things for me to try and wrap my mind around. But what it really comes down to is, because I've analyzed this so much with creating my own reality, which I probably shouldn't do. Yeah. But I'll have an ache or something go on with me, and it's all of a sudden like a big deal. So, just for instance, I wake up in the morning and I meditate, and even after my conversation with you, I can feel right when I wake up I'm in a good, clear state, and I'm trying to prepave my day, and just get in a state of alignment, and I can actually I'll even have these discordant thoughts about my health, like start trying to pop in. I can sense that they're there. And so I literally have been doing your thing of, do I want to be worried about this, or do I want to feel well about this? I want to feel well about this. Do I want to be concerned about this little ache, or is it just an ache and we can just let it be? I do that. So I kind of step myself out of that, but it seems like throughout the day I keep coming back into these places of discordant thoughts.
So it doesn't feel to you that you're able to find enough aligned momentum to hold you steady for the whole day?
Correct.
Well, eventually you will be able to if you keep going for it. In other words, it really is a matter of airtime. But there's another piece that we'll chew on together that might soften this for you and make it easier for you. And you're hovering around it because you mentioned it twice already. And in fact, about the point that we were going to jump in, you said the very thing that we were about to say. So we want to go back and emphasize this a bit. Okay. And that is, I create my own reality.
Right.
I create my own reality, and I don't really trust myself to do a good job of it.
Yeah,
because I know other people that I think create their own reality, and they're not doing that great of a job either. In other words, I create my own reality. I create my own reality is where, and so we touched on this earlier today, and we want to come back and really emphasize it in a way that you can feel it, because the most important feeling or thing that we want to convey to you here is that you aren't doing anything wrong when you are in the process of becoming. In other words, it's fine that you're not completely confident about your health. It's just a step on the trail on your way to greater confidence. But if you're standing in a place of not confidence about your physical well-being, and of course, not only is it uncomfortable because it isn't fun to be frightened, but you're amplifying it because not only are you uncomfortable because you feel uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable that you haven't mastered it yet. You're uncomfortable that since you create your own reality, that you haven't got control of your thoughts. And we want to say there's lots of thoughts going on, and you're a product of your society, and you're a product of the environment around you. And of course, you can't live in the world. You've been living in a very conditional world. It is natural that you would be responding to some conditions in your world. We think it would be lovely if everybody you know is just so perfectly healthy that it doesn't even enter your mind that anything could go wrong, but that's not the case of the conditions of the world. There are sick people all around you. They're coming out of the woodwork. They are rampant. They're just oozing down the trails everywhere you go. Somebody's limping around with something wrong with them. And so you'd have to be a person with your head really in the sand, not to be aware that there are things that are happening to people's body. Don't be mad at yourself for being an observer of conditions. Just acknowledge that it's not likely to be an observer of conditions and not get some wobble in your vibration. And so what this is a case that you're giving to yourself, that if I am ever to be really feeling good in my body, I got to get my mind off the conditions that are all around me and on something else. And so over time, we've wanted to help you to understand why things are happening the way they are. But what it really comes down to is right here and now, you are where you are and you feel how you feel, and that's got to be all right with you. Otherwise, you can't move forward onto a path that's going to feel better. Okay. In the moment of self-doubt or self-recrimination about anything, in the moment that you're thinking, I should be doing better than I am doing, and then to amplify it, or I will do myself in, not helpful and not necessary, but natural, you see. And that's the thing. If there's anything that we want to do for all of you, and especially for you in this conversation, is help you let yourself off the hook. Let yourself off the hook. Of course, I'm a product of my environment. I have seen conditions, I have lived conditions. It's natural that I would be here. So it is what it is, and I feel how I feel, and that's okay. And I can feel better and will. It is what it is, and that's okay, and I can feel better and will. In the spirit of getting rid of doubt before it starts. Now in this case, can't get rid of doubt before it starts because it's already started.
Yeah, I have lots of momentum from...
It's all right,
yeah.
but you can clean it up a little, and clean it up a little, and clean it up a little, and clean it up a little, not by getting rid of doubt, but by not including so much of it now. And then not including, hearing this, then not including so much of it now. And then not including so much of it now. It's going to take a while because now keeps moving. And not including so much of it now, 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 until before long you'll be standing in a place where there won't be much of it because you haven't been including it. It really is about just feeling a little better now and feeling a little better now. But it's mostly about not feeling good, about not feeling perfect now. That is the peace. That's the peace.
Okay.
Because it's always going to improve unless you're upset that it's not improving. And you've said some things about, I've got a lot of momentum and I've got a lot of doubt, and it's been going on for a while, and 3 years ago and last week.
Yeah, and I know I shouldn't be saying.
It's all right.
I know.
It isn't that you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It's that you keep punctuating what is, so that what is keeps being.
Right.
So that's why we're trying to get you to punctuate something else. And the reason that you doubt it is because you haven't quite punctuated the emotion enough for the momentum to really carry you. We want you to convince yourself of your vitality emotionally, vibrationally, and then be inspired to the action.
So okay, I wake up in the morning.
That's a good thing.
I'm going through my day. How would you suggest I...
So can you give us an example of your first awareness of a worrisome thought?
It just will be like an ache or something.
So something that calls your attention to your body.
Yes.
And then makes you speculate what might be the reason for the ache.
Yes, speculate like crazy. Yeah.
So...
and that's just practice from years, I know that.
Here's a fun thought. How long, you said years. So for years you've felt an ache, and for years you've worried. Right. And for years, it's just been an ache.
Yeah.
So it's not a fast-moving ache. It hasn't taken you out yet. Here lies this dear friend. He died of an ache. Well, we're appreciating having this conversation because you're representing a lot of just about everybody. Because every time you feel something,
Yeah.
What was that? This is the reason that it's easy for us to be playful about this. You could have far more than aches. You could have full-blown blah, and we'd still be playful about it because we know that what's next does not have to have does not have to have anything to do with what is, unless what is has your undivided attention. And that's the thing that you're worried about most here, and that's why we are playfully pointing out to you that this has been going on for a while.
Right.
And it's so.
Right.
So what do you think? What do you think is the true desire that is being challenged by this? In other words, what?
That I'm not living as optimally. I'm not feeling like amazing.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a ache or something and just run off with it in my mind anymore. Let the momentum just.
So you worry that it's a symptom that you can't control. So you're worried about momentum.
Yes.
So you're
totally.
So you're worried about momentum, and you're also worried about your ability to focus the momentum in a positive way.
Correct.
And so, but does your rational mind tell you that there must not be that much to worry about because you're stable?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right with the, it has been an ache for years. It's not, it hasn't taken you out.
You're not doing anything inappropriate by having an ache. You're not doing anything appropriate by not being able to quell it. You're not doing anything inappropriate. It's an acceptance that it's okay where you are, because the next step can be a different step. It's making such complete peace with what is, that you're able to allow what you really want to be revealed to you in the next step. But if you're not making peace with what is, then you can't feel the revelation, the realization for what's next. And so that's why when we ask the question, what is it that's bothering you about it? What's bothering you about it is not just that it's ongoing, and it's not even really that you're afraid that it will get carried away. You're just mad at yourself for not being able to feel differently about something that is. And this is the thing that we want you to understand. You can't look at conditions and feel differently about them. You're going about it in a way that is impossible. All of you are. As long as the conditions of your world are what have your attention, you're going to have a roller coaster ride as conditions present themselves to you. So on the morning there's no ache, you feel great. On a morning there is an ache, you don't feel great. That's a conditional response to life.
Okay.
So what you're saying is, I want to feel emotionally great regardless of the condition. And it's a little trickier when it has to do with your body. When it's something that you're feeling in your body, it's harder for you to control the conditions of it. And so that's why this is the conversation that you're having with us here.
Right.
You take your body everywhere you go, and you're usually aware of how your body feels. So you've got to find some way of approaching it, even your body, unconditionally. It's like as Esther is looking at herself in the mirror and mad at herself about 20 pounds that she would like to release her relationship with. Stop renewing her relationship with this 20 pounds. I want to stop renewing my relationship with it. But it goes with her everywhere she goes. And so it's hard not to think about it. But really have to take yourself to a general place. In other words, if she says, would I rather be fat or slender? Now that's a loaded cannon, isn't it?
Right.
Would I rather be clear or confused? When you have a condition that you haven't seemingly been able to control because the outcome keeps being different than you want it to be, it's time for another approach. And we're just saying that the other approach, that an easy approach, is to look for the emotion, choose an emotion, choose an emotion, choose an emotion, choose an emotion, and do it and do it and do it and do it until you find a vibrational stability that will put you in a place of realizing a different path. Ideas will come to you, things will unfold, and changes will take place in the way you feel, in whatever the subject is. It is our promise to you.
Okay.
You can't keep doing the same things over and over again and get different results. You have to do something different. Each time this problem goes on, the solution is equal in its vibrational equivalency. For just a little while, say, I am responsible for my mood. Just for a little while. I control my mood, and the conditions are irrelevant. All current conditions are irrelevant because I'm creating an environment that is causing them to change. So no more snapshots. No more snapshots of what is for a while.
Please subscribe to my channel.